Guys, are we live? Welcome to Off Centered, the Wednesday 9 p.m. Eastern show. It is Brad, the comeback card investor. I am Dustin. We've got Kenny Fournos on tonight. Kenneth Fornos, prolific YouTube vlogger, buyer and seller of sports cards, non-sports cards. Guys, welcome back. Let's get to work. Brad, you coming on or what?
Damn, I think I'm replaced.
Yeah. We don't need you. We don't need
okay, dude. There was a point where I was like, man, I'm really intrigued. Tonight's going to be awesome. I can't wait to watch. Now I have to participate. What is this, man? But that's actually a good switch up, and that's also based on the feedback of what was his name? Do you remember? Was it Carson or you sent me the feedback? I'll have to give him a shout out.
Yeah, it's Corey Parsons.
Okay.
Hope that was better, Corey.
Yeah, appreciate the Corey. Yeah, you're right.
He'll check in, at least watch the first 30 seconds to see if we switched up the intro. So hopefully that works for everybody.
So yeah. So we expect you to like that. You know, don't dislike the video after all that. Let me see. I wanted to see his name, but I'm sure you got it right. Anyway, man, we got a lot of people in the chat already. Got to say hi to Troy. Good to see you as always. Corey's in the house. There's Ryan as always. Brian. Crypto went down today. I know you're the gold and silver guy. Dustin, what are you doing with crypto?
Yeah, it's funny because Michael Saylor is starting to really make a lot of sense to me on the Bitcoin front. So I've been dollar cost averaging Bitcoin. I have bought some other cryptos, but I'll be honest, I'm really researching deep dive in on Bitcoin in general, and I'm watching all of it. Yes, so the answer is yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I still. Long story short, you already know the situation with my ex, but I got to get my life savings back from my ex in Germany who invested, and I don't know, it's lost somewhere in the ether. But great to see you, Steven. Great to see you, Brett and AJ in the house as well. Philly Joe, shout out to Philly Joe, who has been one of the most active members in Card Life. And actually, I'll got to give a little plug for Card Life, who Dustin, you'll be on next week with Tim from Slabstrong. So if you're a content creator, aspiring content creator, if you're an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur and you wanted to join a Zoom call with us and several others in the hobby, definitely RSVP. It is a free event and we're happy to help you in any way we can. So that'll be cool.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Joe, shout out to Joe for being not only very active, but also getting out of his comfort zone several times and really growing in the last couple of weeks, which definitely makes me happy. Mike C is always in the house as well. There's Michael Stone, another card lifer right there. Brendan Ryan, great to see you as well. And we're definitely going to talk about my dating life, which has changed dramatically in the last week and a half. And then we were going to talk to Kenneth.
A roller coaster, it sounds like.
A good roller coaster. Okay. Anyway, so what's up with you, man? How's everything?
Everything's good. Although, and I just told you this before I came on, my wife's grandfather, he is 90. He fell, actually had to have surgery on one of his eyes, and he lost sight in that eye. So we're kind of just reeling a little bit, trying to figure out. She's had in Ohio and trying to sort all that out with work and kids and all that stuff. So it's been a little bit trying today. But outside of that, I mean, it's kind of the usual stuff. It's been busy, but all good.
Nice. Very cool. And it's funny because you live a completely different life than me. Because
I have all the responsibilities. Brad has no responsibilities.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just still in college mode all over again with like a couple extra bills to pay. But it's been good because the girl that I was dating for the last couple of months, it was casual. It was pretty casual. It was just like, hey, we're going through, different phases of life and we get along really well and let's keep each other company and be friends. And so I have pictures with her on my Instagram with my cheat meal, my weekly cheat meal. So if you want to see what she looks like, it's the Comeback Card Investor on Instagram. You could see. But we had a talk a couple days ago, and shameless she's like,
plug.
"Huh?
Shameless plug."
Always. I mean, always shameless plugs left and right. But we, had a call, and it basically said, you know what? It's run its course. It's time to just be friends again. And so that's where we're at, which means I'm back on the market officially. And it's been a good time. It's been a good time, man.
So you went, so from what you told me, you kind of like went on an okay date and then you went on a really good one. Kind of fire up the okay one so that people can.
Oh, sorry. I meant to,
what
I meant to remove the comment.
Like, I hate this topic. No. But it seemed like, it's like the ups and downs of the online kind of the match you up online dating. Explain what went wrong.
Oh yeah.
It
Okay.
wasn't terrible.
So yeah, guys, we're not going to take too long on this, but it is, I think, interesting. So if you're single out there and you're on the dating apps, I've been using Hinge and Bumble, but Hinge has been a really good one. And so this one girl I matched with had an amazing body, into fitness, very easy to communicate with. But here's the thing though. She seemed way too.
I distracted. Brendan Ryan's Amber Heard comment at 9:06. do you know what he's referencing there with Johnny Depp? Johnny Depp said, "You'll never see my eyes again."
Oh God, no.
That's gonna be Brad. That's gonna be Brad in about 10 years. Is the whole Johnny Depp trial? Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, just so the FYI, if you're a single guy, if you are on the dating apps, which is phenomenal here in Southern California, it's not fair because we take the beautiful women of most of the country, but it's like an ocean of 8s and above. And anyway, this girl had a lot of filters on her face, phenomenal body, into similar things, but we met for the Game 7 Lightning versus Maple Leafs, and that was the specific plan because she loves baseball, and I said that's only because you haven't watched hockey yet. So I introduced her to hockey, but in person, I could see why she used some of the filters. Really nice girl. We're gonna be friends hopefully, but just that's an FYI. But then I went on a date Monday night with a Brazilian girl, super cute, super humble, emotionally intelligent, ambitious, cultured, traveled, everything I want. So hopefully I'll go out with her again this weekend.
Really?
We'll see.
She put her game face on for that first date. She's like, be normal, be normal.
Yeah.
Be normal,
Well,
be normal.
and that's why I was like, well, oh, it's funny. This is what happened. I go up to the restaurant.
Don't show 'em you're crazy. Don't show 'em you're crazy. All right, let's go.
I go up to the restaurant and I don't see her. She says, I'm here. I go up to the restaurant and I'm looking everywhere. I'm like, have you seen a girl? And then she pops out of her car. She says, I was hiding in my car just in case you were a catfish. And, she was serious because I guess it's happened. But anyway, that was a good date. And then tomorrow I'm meeting another girl in Santa Monica. So I'm back in the market. I'm mingling and it's fun.
Not a bad place to do it. Los Angeles, California.
Not at all. Let's see. So what else? Oh, and here's the last thing I'll say on this is that a girl just matched with me or tried to match with me on Hinge, and she actually works at Whatnot. So I don't know if it's the headquarters, but she works at Whatnot here in LA. So
Brad's always working the angles.
And anything to get us that sponsorship. As long as we get that next sponsorship, I'll go out with her a couple times and see how that goes, but not until the sponsorship is landed. That's when I can give it up.
Yeah, you really have to work. Yeah, you got to really do that one right. Yeah, get focused. All right.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think is there anything else?
I feel like there was, but that's fine. Kenny's probably snoozing back there, so let's bring him on.
All right, sounds good. Let's see here. You want to give it a shot? Can you? Can you bring him on, host?
I can't bring him on.
Okay, well, you still have to let me do that. All right, there we go. Kenny, what's up, man?
Hey guys, how are you? Thank you for having me on.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. This is the first time we've actually met, so it's long overdue. But I've been following you on Instagram for a while. I know you have a huge following, and you're all around the country doing this, doing these shows, and you're doing it full time. So I'm always interested to see what it's like being on your end of it, where you are so fully immersed, way different than me and Dustin, who are pretty much on the sidelines, just admiring your lifestyle. So first things first, man, who are you and where are you in the world?
So, I mean, I'm just a regular guy, man. Kenneth Fornos. I travel around the country selling sports cards, buy, sell, trade all the time. Sports cards and all trading cards, honestly. I look for a bunch of oddball stuff too for my personal collection. And I live in North Carolina. I grew up in Florida when I was younger as well. So I've always been back and forth between Florida and North Carolina.
Wait, we're in Florida?
Orlando.
Okay. So are you a Magic fan?
No, I'm actually a Miami fan. Both of my parents grew up in Miami. So my dad lived in Miami as well. So I would always go to Miami every single summer, every vacation that I had. And I'm a Dolphins and a Heat fan.
Okay. Much easier. I mean, Dolphins fan, not easy, but Heat fan, much easier than Orlando Magic. I mean,
oh yeah.
That's one of the toughest franchises to be a fan of. And I'm a Magic fan. And there was like two little moments in history that gave me some hope. And now I'm like, you know what? I don't care if you have the #1 overall pick. Maybe in 4 years, 5 years, you break, you're up to playoff level or conference finals level, and then you'll just disappoint me again. So good for you being a Heat fan.
I've got a question for you, Kenny, kind of right out of the gate with your vlog, because you have an impressive sports card vlog. I would say, I mean, to me, it's my favorite as far as all the vlog shows go. Do you have somebody, is there a whole team that's doing that, that you have doing all that, the editing and the video and all that stuff, or is that kind of all you? How does that typically go? And if you do have a team, how many people are doing it with you?
So it's not really a team, honestly. It's one of my best friends that I grew up with in high school. He's my videographer. I pay him I pay for pretty much everything. And I gave him all the equipment. I pretty much handed him the camera. He loves video and photography, and he wanted to get into it. And I was like, hey man, I want to travel the country, and if you're down, we can make it happen. So I try to do everything in my power to make it happen for both of us. I can do video editing. Some of those vlogs that you have seen, I have edited, but now I do outsource editing because it's just so time consuming, and I'd like to be as efficient as possible. I'd like to get as much content as possible if I can. And I remember I would come home after a show, 3-day show, right? And then Monday, Tuesday, I'm grinding out, just making a big vlog or something. And, you're doing every single jump cut. You're adding animations. You're putting pop-ups. You have to literally, it's like looking at film. It's like you're literally watching every interaction. You're just like, what could I have done better? Why did I buy this? I observe like every interaction, like, could I have done better here? Did I need to make that deal? Did I not have to make that deal? And so on and so on. But it just was so exhausting. I feel like I would come home from a show and then edit, video posted, back to another show. And it was like no free time.
Dude, it's funny you mention that because I can't stand the editing. I mean, some people love it. That's their job. That's what they want to do. That's the part that gives them energy. And that's the part where I go, man, this sucks. Like, I'm not that talented at it, but more than anything, it just takes all my energy and time. And that's why I love these live streams, because this gives me energy because I'm interacting. It's live. So there are no do-overs. You can't really be a perfectionist. You just have to roll with it and see what happens. But that's why I transitioned to mostly live streams, and Dustin and I will be launching our podcast in a couple of months. But it's something way more enjoyable. So my question for you is, what aspect of what you're doing right now excites you the most? What would you do even more so if you could, while of course you have to deal with administrative stuff and travel and other, but what's the part that you're like, damn, if I could just do this 10 hours a day, that would be the best?
Honestly, I love looking at cards, man. I really do. Like, I go to a show, I get pumped. Like, even if, there's a card that I can't buy, like, it's just cool seeing what people have. Like, it's crazy. You go to one side of the world and you'll see like a 1-of-1 of a specific player. Like, what are the odds that you see a 1-of-1 of that specific player, for example? Like, it's just crazy. Like I said, traveling to these different countries and just seeing the variety of everything that you can see.
Do you say different countries? Or you just mean different states?
City, sorry.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, soon. And I say that because we got guys from Japan, Germany, like Austria, obviously Canada, but we got like a lot of different countries that are represented. And it's only a matter of time before Europe has their international sports card show. Then we have the national, we're going to have them having the international, and then Australia and all these other countries. So soon it is going to be like, it went from Germany to Amsterdam to Berlin to London to LA to wherever else.
Yeah, and there's a London card show that's coming up soon that we did kind of want to go to. The only thing is I've been holding off on looking at getting my passport. I've been slacking. I really have been. But yeah, I mean, it's cool seeing a bunch of cards, man. Like, and I mean, I always loved sports growing up. I played sports growing up. So to have that same passion now and people's passion, like, it's cool to see it all in front of me.
I got a helicopter chasing probably a murderer. So FYI, that's what that is.
I've got a question. Yeah, go on mute while they catch the killer. All right. So, all right. I can hear you. So when you're at shows, this is one thing I was kind of curious about. Do you get more deals through people walking up to you that are actually attending the show, or are you doing more deals with other dealers that you know that you've got relationships with, and they know you have a certain card that they know that they could sell to someone, and where they're from or whatever? I know there's a lot of that location wise, where maybe you're going to Miami and you pick up a bunch of Heat stuff to take to Miami or whatever. Are you doing more deals with attendees or with other dealers these days?
I mean, honestly, like building, like it's a mixture of both. I mean, I've built a bunch of relationships with people who have sold me stuff, who I've sold them stuff. There's people that are definitely like, I'll put, for example, on my story, I'll be like, hey, I'll be at the Dallas Card Show. Here's what's available. And then people will reach out and be like, oh, sweet. I have some stuff I'd like you to take a look at. And some of the times they're attendees, and some of the times it's just people that I already know. So, I mean, it's really a mixture of both. I do like going to these shows and getting those attendee walk-ups though, because it's like, it's not the same people over and over again. And that's where you do get the best deals and stuff. Like sometimes, like some people really just, they've had it for so long or something, or maybe they want a specific card. And that's where trading really comes into effect. I love trading personally. I think trading it's good on both parties. Dustin, you're on mute.
Such a rookie move. Such a rookie move.
Did they catch the guy or not?
We'll see. Give it another 2 minutes. We'll see if the
helicopter Brad
doesn't
want to say. Brad doesn't want to. Brad doesn't want to say, but they're actually looking for him. He's like, please don't see me. Please don't see me.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, I was wondering. So trading, what is your thought process when going into a trade? What's your mindset around a trade? Like, is it, I know these are the cards I want to trade, or everything's open, let me see, but what is the thing that you're looking for? Is it like, I can sell this right away, or this is something in 6 months or a year I believe in? Like, what's your thought process? Because and like, what is your parameters in terms of, do you trade evenly, or are you saying I need to have at least 20% margin on a trade? Just like, if you go to a pawn shop, or if you sell your cards to a card store, they need to make a profit because they have expenses as well.
It really depends, honestly. Like, I'd say liquidity, like, for example, if it's something, I try to always get end consumer cards, like numbered stuff, but stuff that's going to the end consumer. Because at the end of the day, like, if you buy cards that are going to collectors, they're always going to be easier to move because somebody's in the room is going to be looking for them most of the time. So like, let's say your PC is Stephen Curry, and there's a Stephen Curry that I have, and you have a bunch of, like whoever is liquid in the market at the time, but you really need that Steph Curry. So, he's not my PC. I could just trade it for instant liquidity and just keep it going, because I can just get another Steph Curry most of the time. And there's certain things, like, I don't have an attachment on most cards that some people do. Like, I do have my own personal collection. However, I mean, it is a business at the end of the day too for me. So I do have to detach at some point, like, okay, I've had this for X amount of time, and it's great. I enjoyed the time that I had with this. However, there is a fair offer on the table for this card.
How do you guys gauge what is liquid at a given time? Because that's another thing. Where is it just certain players are always liquid, like a Steph Curry? Is that a guy that's like kind of, or a Tom Brady, is that always liquid? Or is it like, I just don't, you guys, it's just crazy. Like, I watch your vlog and it's like, so-and-so is selling great. I'm like, how the hell do they even know that? Like, like they're literally like in different places all the time. And it's not as if like the sports card market, it's like so transparent to where you just know kind of, which players are going off. I understand sports are happening, so maybe you're trying to like time certain things, like Tatum or Luka or whatever, but how do you guys figure that out on the fly?
It's crazy. I was going to make a vlog series, actually. I was going to do like a questionnaire to people. So, I mean, I'm going to keep that under wraps, but I am going to answer your question. But I do have an idea of, pretty much the question you're asking. It's really based on trends. Like, what are people mostly bringing up to the table? What is mostly in dealers to showcase? When you hit the trade nights, I think, are always when you make the most deals at a show, if there is a trade night on any given show, because you get a more, personable one-on-one interaction with somebody. But it's really based on what's going on at the current moment. Like, for example, Jason Tatum and Luka, they're in the playoffs, so they're in high demand. You know, they're at a specific point in the market that, you know, we feel that we can get them in and out quick. But then there are like quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are extremely in demand right now. So yeah, we can get them in and out quick, but we can still hold them too if we'd like to.
Got you.
So,
Go ahead, Brad.
all right, my question is, for one, when you started doing this full time, or when you started flipping, when was it? And just to see how realistic it is for someone that's in their teens or 20s to dive into the full time level. Because I mean, I feel like anyone that got in prior to March 2020, especially like a 6-month runway to really get it going with a couple $1,000s, you could really build enough inventory quick to be able to do this. Plus you had the knowledge and all of that. But everyone that's post March 2020, you're getting in with a lot of the elevated prices. And unless you have a lot of money to just throw in at the higher end stuff, you have to build this over time via submissions and going to a lot of shows. So for one, when did you begin and when did you go full time?
So I collected cards as a kid. Now I detached from the hobby growing up. Like, I asked my mom, because I stopped collecting when I was probably like, I don't know, 12, 13 years old. I had a neighbor. He really got me into collecting when I was like 10, 11 years old. And there was a small hobby shop. I lived in a small town. And I mean, there was literally like one gas station, one school. Everybody knew each other, you know, and then there's that one card shop literally on the corner. Like, it was probably the size of one of those like pocket FedExes at Walmart or something. So, you know, I was chasing Donruss threads, Ricky Williams. We had Dante Culpepper on the Dolphins. I loved jersey cards growing up. They were cool. I didn't even care if they were game worn. At the time, you weren't looking at the back to see if they were game used or anything like that. But, you know, as time went on, I just, you know, life kept going on. And then in 2019, late 2018, then early 2019, I kept hearing about, you know, like most people, Gary Vee was talking about sports cards. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I just kept reading, and I was like, I mean, I collected a bunch of cards. So I asked my mom, I was like, what happened to my old cards? She was like, I don't know. We moved. And so then in 2020, February, right before the big boom.
Is that why you always say we move? We move.
Yeah. So in February of 2020, I bought 2 Jason Tatum Panini Prism base PSA 10s. At the time, I was working my full-time job. Before sports cards, I worked at Sprint and T-Mobile. I sold, you know, I did sales. And, you know, it was a good job. You know, it got me by. It paid the bills. And I thought I was crazy. I spent $200, I think, on the Tatum. I think it was 200 or 160, something like that. And I mean, I didn't spend that much money on anything. I mean, I was very I'm very minimalistic. And then I bought his Optic Shock PSA 10 for $100.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I felt like I was crazy at the time, but I was like, hey, we're gonna ride it. And then the season shut down. And out of nowhere, that Tatum was 300. Then it got to 400. And I had 500. I was like, what is going on? And during the bubble, I sold the Jason Tatum PSA 10 for like $700. But whenever that happened, you know, the whole country shut down. I was an essential employee. And I would still work full time, but I was trying to buy cards all the time on like Mercari, eBay, Facebook, and I was just flipping cards on the side as a part-time job. As a part-time job, though, it's crazy because I actually moved out because I lived with my mom at the time. I moved out doing cards part-time, and I finally went full-time last year in June. In June, I told my boss, I was like, hey, I don't think I'm coming back. Because he actually he let me travel to shows. I was traveling from April to June. You know, I'd ask for specific time off, and he'd give it to me. You know, he told me, you know, he saw the hustle, and I really appreciated him for letting me do it. And finally, at the end of June, I was like, you know, I think I'm gonna take that leap. And I was scared. I was terrified. I mean, I was about to turn something that I really liked into my full-time job. And I mean, I just try to keep a good work-life balance even today, and still continue what I do today.
When you went full time or decided to, what was the moment where you're like, I think it's worth it, or I think it's worth the risk? Like financially, did you have a certain cushion? Did you have certain cash flow? What was the moment where you go, okay, it's time? Like, what was that threshold?
And then a year ago too, that was when prices had started to come down. So it's not as if you decided to do that like at the height, you know?
Correct.
So, yeah.
Prices were coming down. I really it's crazy because I went to my first show at the end of 2020 with like $800, but I had a big PSA order. And at the time, you know, we were all selling stuff on eBay, on Facebook for like 95%. And I remember somebody bought out my table at my first show. And he bought it out, but he bought it at 70%. At the time, I didn't know what 70% meant or 75% meant. Like, he was like, you know, if I buy it all from you, I'd like to make some money. And at the time, it didn't click with me. You know, I was working part-time at my job full-time at my job, and I was doing the cards, you know, just as a side hustle. But then, like, I took the money and I bought something better, something that I wanted. But then, like, as time went on, Brad, like, I just got more comfortable, honestly. I think that's really what it was. It was really just trial and error. Like, I'll tell you one of my worst. You guys will probably laugh at this.
This is going to be my next question anyway, so you might as well just roll into it.
All right. So, I mean, my worst loss ever was I bought a bunch of Trae Young at the end of 2020. So during the bubble, he didn't make the bubble. I remember he didn't make the bubble, but I saw his numbers, I saw his prices, and I thought at the time that he could get to like maybe 3/4 of Luka. I just thought the hype would be there as far as going into the season.
And he did kind of trail Luka. Like there was always that comparison. There was always that comparison of like, why is Trae Young so much less than Luka and all that? So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I speculated heavy. And this was a dumb decision. Please, nobody ever do this. This is not financial advice. I'm letting everybody know right now. I had a credit card and I spent $6,000 on Trae Young in October of 2020.
Which cards? Prism Silver, PSA 10?
Prism Base, Prism Silvers, red, white, and blue. It wasn't like I bought like Immaculates or Flawless. I was just going based on the general, like just what my speed was at the time.
And that's what was moving too. I mean, that
was the liquid stuff.
That was the liquid stuff that you knew you could move.
It was. So I bought all that, and this was before my slabs blew up too. So like it was very low key at the time. I was picking up some good deals on my slabs, very under eBay comps, and I was like, I think during the season these are going to go up. So I remember I bought Prism bases when they were like $400 or $500, something like that, and they got up to $800. And I could have sold, but I got greedy and I didn't sell and I held the bag. So I sold them all off for probably like, in total, I invested like $6,500. I sold them all off for like $2,500, lost $4K, something like that, $4 or $5K. So I worked my ass off to literally pay that back. Cause I mean, it was on credit. Like I said, do not ever do this, anybody. So I worked my ass off to literally pay that off with my full-time job money. And really that experience just made me continue to like, I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to quit after this. Like, no, like I'm just going to get better. So as time went on, I just tried to get better. I tried to buy the right stuff.
That's a great lesson. I mean,
yeah, like it was, I mean, it's a big slap to the face. It's a big slap to the face because, at the time, like I was 22, 23, credit card debt. I was stressing, I'm trying to pay my rent, and it's like, dang, but I just kept going. That's all it was. And I finally went to a big show in Miami, and I went to that show with only like $1,500 in my pocket, and I made the most of that show.
So what was the biggest learning lesson from that besides the use of the credit card and being, taking that big of a gamble? Because, there are people right now that are buying. I mean, look, Trae Young entering 2021. Yeah, the prices were through the roof, but there was a lot of hype and for good reason. What's the difference between that and, week before NFL kickoff with Justin Herbert or someone else where you're like, yeah, but they're playing good. This should be the year, or very well could be the year. what's the difference, entering the next season, let's say NBA or NFL or whatever? Is it if I see the trajectory going up, I'm not going to do it? Is it only if it's a super rare card? Like, what's the big difference going forward from that lesson?
The biggest lesson is definitely don't, like, it's better to sell too early than to sell too late. That's literally what it is. Like, for example, like, I learned that firsthand. So really only few will really understand. Like, if you, like, for example, if you sold Jason Tatum 2 weeks ago, it's okay. Like, you can't say, oh, well, I could have held Tatum till this week, or I could have held him for another week. But if you already did well on it, because I was already doing great on those Trae Youngs. Like, that 6,000 was probably like, if I really sold it all, it was probably like 9,500. But then I remember he complained or Steve Nash complained to the refs. And like, ever since then, it just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. And that's really it. Like, you just have to take what you can get and know that you can buy it back later for half or a discounted rate. Because every card that I sold that I felt that I sold too early, it always made its way back to my hand somehow for a discounted rate.
Well, also, I mean, those cards are the liquid cards where it's, it's an interesting, I guess, tiered system right now where you have the super rare stuff, which is high 5 figures on up. And then you have the liquid stuff, up to $5,000, $6,000 or $8,000. And it's like, yeah, they could be anywhere. It could fluctuate. And if the market crashes or the market shifts, that you could be completely screwed. But that's also where the vast majority of people are in, because it's not like we're like, oh, well, yeah, let me get one of those $500,000 cards and let me get one of these. Because, the people that are in that category, it is artwork. It is something so rare that the millionaires and billionaires of society can easily grab it and look at it the same way as they look at Mike Tyson's first ever knockout glove or Mona Lisa or whatever else, while the rest of us have got to be playing with something, but it's a lot more dangerous. So going forward, like where you are now, what are some of the variations, inserts, grades, etc., that really excite you versus a year ago?
I love sealed. I like if it's sealed from Panini.
Seal.
I don't know what it is.
Not the singer Seal.
No, like
Yeah.
sealed, like
not,
sealed.
not Kiss from a Rose.
Yeah, he's talking about like the
Seal was great.
Yes,
Yeah.
like
Okay, got it.
like sealed cards. It's, to me, it's very aesthetically pleasing. So like for example, somebody can't say, well, how's it going to grade? Well, I don't know. I mean, it's sealed. I'm not going to crack it. That's literally the argument that you can say anytime, honestly. Like, I love impeccable sealed and immaculate sealed and flawless. Those are literally my 3 favorite sealed products that I do, or sealed cards that I do like. And then like just numbered stuff, low pop stuff. PSA 10s are just moving like clockwork of anything. That's where really the most liquidity is. Like PSA today it's just like Apple. I mean, it's separating itself so much from the Beckett 9.5, unfortunately, that it's crazy.
So going back to shows real quick, Kenny, I remember at our local Raleigh show, which I don't know if that's not quite local for you, but you're in North Carolina. One thing that I noticed, well, first off, that show's grown tremendously. That was literally, I remember the first time I went to it, they could barely fit half of that. And it's not like a gigantic room, but it's big. I mean, it's a decent size. Like they can fit a decent amount of tables. I remember going there and it was like barely half full. You could tell that they struggled to try to like place tables a certain way. Now you walk in there and it's wall to wall with tables, and it's busy. There's people traveling into that show. One thing I noticed about the last show is that every dealer, it felt like, was selling patch auto cards. Whereas I remember, going back a year, it was exactly what you're talking about. It was it was the base prisms. It was the shock rookies and stuff, the optic shock. And now, and I noticed that shift. If you're at a show and you see all like patch autos, are you looking for that stuff, or are you looking to buy off stuff that maybe isn't like that they're trying to get rid of? Like if they're like, oh, I'm just going to sell all the patch auto stuff, are you going back to like the silver prisms, or do you just kind of like, how do you typically strategize, or if everyone's selling that, do you buy that as well and just try to flip that stuff?
It's a mixture of both. So like, I mean, if a lot of people were asking for a specific player, like for example, let's say we're setting up at a table and they're like, do you got a Justin Herbert? Do you have Josh Allen? Do you have X player? Then I'm gonna go look for that player if I don't have it. Like if multiple people have came to my table and said that, and I don't have their cards, that means I need to be looking for their cards most of the time. But I mean, like I said, just going with the sealed stuff, I like to buy stuff that's very aesthetically pleasing. Like I remember whenever you were interested in the name and stuff that I wanted that I had back in February in Atlanta.
Yeah, you're just too pricey on them. But yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I mean they moved
fair prices, but it's just, I'm trying to get them as low as I can, obviously. So
of course. Like they were just so aesthetically pleasing when I bought them. Like I didn't have to. I mean, I know who Joe Namath is. I know that he moves pretty decently to collectors in the hobby. So that's really why I wanted those cards, because of how clean, how sharp they look. Like they have great eye appeal. That at the end of the day, somebody's going to look at this card and they're going to appreciate the card.
When you set up at card shows, do you find that the majority of people pay more than what you would get online, or is it about the same amount? You just don't have to worry about taxes and fees, or you worry about taxes, but it's, if it's cash transaction, you can kind of do your own thing. But is it like, wow, people pay more because they're caught up in the moments, they're not really looking at comps because it's just a fun experience and they want the card right then and there, and that's been a good strategy? Or is it like pretty much the same as online without the fees and taxes involved?
I think it's it could be a mixture of both too. Like some people will really pay you comps. Some people will still pay 85%, 80%. I mean, 75%. Like it's all about, like, if I'm doing well on the card, like if I already got, that's why I like to do big bulk deals. Cause then like if I sell one card for the amount that I needed, then like I know that the cost of each other card gets lower and lower. So there goes better. Like if somebody wants a better deal, then I know that I've got the room. So it could be a mixture of both. Most of the time people do their research. That's a good thing about the hobby. Like you have to do your research. You don't want to buy stuff blindly. So people do take their time to do multiple research. Me, for example, like if I'm looking at a card, let's say if there's no comps on a card of 25, and I need to see what I need to pay for that card of 25, I look up that same player, that same set, and look at other variations. Like what did the of 50 do? What did the of 10 do? What did the of 75 do? Like that way I can get a good overall feeling of what I need to pay for the of 25.
Yeah. And just 1 second. That's why I liked Comp C so much at the beginning, because Comp C, when I was dealing with $3 cards, $5 cards, I was learning so much because the way it was set up, I could easily look at, okay, number to 50, this is going for $20. Then number to 25, this is going for only $5 more. And I could be like, well, if this is half as scarce, why is this only $5 more? And you could really visually go through it and compare players against each other, sets against each other, and variations against each other, and really figure out, okay, this is the underpriced one. Plus, then you look at the sales history and you go, okay, this person just wants to move the card. That's more important than getting the most amount. But yeah, very good. Dustin, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, well, and like you were saying, it's perceived value. So let's say it's a Spectra auto out of 25, and there, like I said, there's no comps. I mean, it's all about multipliers. It's all about numbers. And if there are no Spectra autos that have been comped of like a 50, of 75, of 10, then you try to look at the next best set. Type in X player of 25 or X player auto, and then you can see other sets, what's comparable to Spectra. That's where you get, like, it's all about just, I don't know how to say it. It's like literally like you just have to do as much research as possible. That way you know what you need to pay for a certain card.
Troy's got a great, we're going to go back to Troy Collectibles. He has a good question. We'll go back to it. But I was just thinking, you're going to go to the National. I know that you're not set up as a dealer there from what I understand. So how do you strategize the national? Is that more of just like a fun experience, or I mean, but you're running it as a business, so you don't have a dealer table maybe, but you're there to deal. But the national is like Disneyland, where it's like everything is there. How do you kind of walk into a show like that and figure out your strategy, or do you not figure out a strategy and you just kind of go around, put your ear to the ground, figure out what people are asking for, and try to do trade nights and different things?
Well, we'll have a table this year, just like we did last year.
Okay.
But the National is a great walking show. The good thing is, like, there's dealers from all around the country that see. The thing is, when we go to these shows, sometimes you'll see the same amount of dealers. Like, you'll see the same faces, and the National is just the place where you're not going to see those same faces. You're going to be at one side of the room. You'll go to the other side of the room, and it's like you never even seen these guys before, and it's. You could sell something to one table, or you can buy something on one table, go 20 feet away, sell it to the next. Like there's so many deals. It's just like you said, it's literally Disneyland. I mean, there's so much variety. There's so many things to do. As far as a game plan, I mean, whatever's hot at the time, or whatever I'm feeling at the time is really how I strategize every single show. And then with John, my videographer, we just try to strategize what's the best content that we can make. Whether it's, questionnaires or like challenges or anything in general. Like, we just try to strategize what we need to do to make the best content possible.
So, well, for one, if you're out there in the chat, let us know what content you would like to see coming from the National, something that unique, where there's going to be a lot of the usual. There's going to be a lot of content, period. But if there's something specific that you would love to see from the National, whether you're going or not, please let us know in the comment section, just so we have some good input for ourselves and Kenneth. Just because I always wonder the same thing, because I'm not doing what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, but I love just interviewing other people. Do people care or not? And then we have to look at the results on YouTube and go, oh, I guess they don't care. But Kenneth or Troy has a great question. And this is something that I was interested in myself. Do you only deal with sports cards and wax, or also buy and sell non-sports Pokemon, etc.?
A lot of everything. No Pokemon, but definitely like other stuff like Marvel, movie actors and stuff like that. I try to buy some autos of like TV show actors and stuff like that.
Like Marilyn Monroe, for example?
No, not like Marilyn Monroe, but like stuff that, I can relate to. I like to buy stuff.
Brad bought a Marilyn Monroe card last week. That's why I threw that out there.
From like 1960. Yeah. Hey, I'm just saying. And it's not like I'm doing it for inappropriate reasons. It was an old card. It looked cool. And even though I've never seen any of her movies, I don't like old movies, to be honest. Top Gun is like the most badass movie ever, but that's also the oldest one I'll watch. I haven't even seen Scarface, which I know is like a sin. But
for real?
Yeah, I know. Wow. I know. That's bad. I'll see it, but it's like a commitment. It's like 3 hours or something. But regardless, those old movies I have zero interest in. However, Goats of Hollywood is something that does intrigue me, as Fanatics is introducing more non-sports lines, as more athletes, entertainers are getting in, pop culture icons are getting in. So I'm like, hey, there's a chance that Clint Eastwood auto from 1980 or his oldest card from 1960 could be a top seller at some point, because why not? So anyway.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, like I said, I try to buy stuff that I've enjoyed in my life. Like, I mean, back in Nashville, I bought The Sopranos season 1 title PSA 10. I've never seen that card. It was a pop 1. I mean, I never even see the card raw. So, and it was so cheap. I was like, yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite shows. I want this card. Like, I'll spend the money just to throw, just to have it forever. I mean, a lot of people, whenever I go to shows, they'll give me Miami Heat cards, which is awesome, because all the stuff that anybody's ever given me, it's just stashed away. Like, it doesn't matter if it's $1, 10 cents, 5 cents. The gesture is more important to me.
Dustin loves getting Jameis Winston base cards. So
all right, I got you.
and you could throw it at him. He likes
You know,
he likes to catch him.
The thing that's sad is I'm so big on Jameis right now. I'm here for the Jameis Winston Revenge Tour, and I don't own any Jameis Winston cards. So that'll probably be a video in itself where the Saints are 16-0 going into the end of the season, 17-0. Jameis has broken every NFL single
Broken
season.
every bone.
And
Every bone.
I
from
didn't
getting
buy
sacked
any.
nonstop.
I didn't buy any cards, so I'm just I don't have any Jameis cards. But
you know what's good about being a Saints or a Jameis fan and a Saints fan is that if you sit close enough, you'll probably catch one of Jameis's balls that he was intending for his receivers in like row 40. So you're like, I thought there was no chance I'd catch it, but Jameis tried to throw it to the receiver, and I got it up at the 40th row. How awesome.
Those interception jokes are just so original. It's crazy. I've never heard anyone, make fun of his interception. The one season, literally, this dude had one season with 30 picks, and I get it. It's a record, blah, 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 whatever. But maybe Bruce Arians had him throw it too much. Maybe he shouldn't have thrown the ball 6,000 times. I'm just saying.
I don't think he's that bad. I really don't. I mean, he did have 4,000. Was it 5 or 4,000?
He had 5,000 yards.
Yeah, 5,000 yards.
5,000 crab legs in one night.
I mean, that's hard to do still, like, no matter if you're throwing 30 picks.
Yeah, maybe Drew Brees will back up Tom Brady in Tampa. That would be something.
That'd be
He's
crazy.
not going to be it with us. Oh, speaking of two in the chat, Vegas Find 777 Chris popped in. And yes, we have to have Chris back on again sometime soon. We're due up for a Vegas Finds episode. That'll be coming.
Absolutely. What about UFC? Are you big into UFC? Anything that
I watch UFC. I definitely like buying some of the cards if it does make sense. One of my boys, Mark, he's big on UFC. So if you guys
NASCAR.
I don't. Well, I mean, I have a Haley Deegan, one that's actually at PSA right now. Now she's still not, there yet. But one of my boys actually, if you guys are very big in the UFC, come by the table at any table that we're at. I'm typically set up with him. He has a lot of UFC. He's a big super collector, and I watch UFC. I love watching UFC. It's crazy. We were in Phoenix 2 weeks ago, and we stayed at the hotel where all the UFC fighters were staying before the fight.
Very cool. I was going to ask something, but I forgot. Now I have to pee, and I've actually been on a really good streak where I have not had to use the restroom during the live stream for like the last 2 months. And I know people bet on it. They have wagers going for how long I last, and I'm going to try and screw them over by lasting the next 12 minutes with you.
You can go, and I'll just Michael's got a good question here we can touch on.
Okay, hold on. Which one? Michael Hout?
Yep, Michael Hout about baseball, hobby content in baseball.
Okay, perfect.
I think that's a good one. Kenny, what are your thoughts? So F1, number one, what are your thoughts on the F1 craze? And then baseball. Are you a big baseball person as far as buying and selling baseball cards, whether it be vintage or modern?
It's crazy. Baseball was my first sport growing up. And then when I got to high school, I just got bored. But I mean,
boring.
Now I'll go to a live baseball game. Don't get me wrong, but it is
because you're gonna get hammered though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like
you go to the DMV and get a new license.
It's like
fun.
It's like playing golf. It's more of a drinking event.
I mean, it's there's so many games. Like for example, yesterday, I was just scrolling through and I was like, oh, okay, there's a baseball game on. Let me watch an inning. Oh my God, it was the longest inning ever. I was like, all right, I can't do this. I can't. But I mean, I do like watching baseball in October. Everybody likes watching baseball in October.
They need to add something to it, like have the outfielders being chased by coyotes.
It is America's pastime. Like I'm not gonna definitely down talk the sport. Like it's very popular. I do like the Marlins. I mean, like I grew up a Marlins fan, so it's kind of been rough lately. But it moves all the time. I mean, especially prospects. People love First Bowman Chrome. Wow.
I don't know what Michael is talking about there. What happened?
I don't know. But I mean, people love prospecting. So prospects move a lot at shows. If you go to a showcase and there's a bunch of prospects, I mean,
that's the only part of modern baseball I could see being fun. If you do follow the minor leagues and you follow all the prospecting stuff outside of vintage stuff. But I mean, it's like how much can you really talk about that? It's like Mantle, Mays, you know, all the kind of vintage legends, unless you're collecting all the baseball Hall of Famers, which there's like a million of those. But I mean, I can see if you're really into the up and comers, like the first Bowmans of random people, you can lose a lot of money that way too. But if that's just kind of your sports betting, your gamble, you know, whatever, then I get that.
But you can gain the gains are crazy if you really hit one on the money. I mean, like it's crazy though, because like my favorite athlete before I watched basketball was Derek Jeter. Like I was a Marlins fan, but I watched Derek Jeter. Like we played against the Yankees in the World Series, and I think it was 2002 or 2003. Like I remember watching, and it's crazy. It's like that was still my favorite player, and we had to play him. But I don't know. I mean, he's very cheap. So I mean, sometimes I do go out of my way to find Derek Jeter autos. He is very cheap. But I don't do F1. I did watch a race like a couple months ago when I was in Vegas, but I don't follow the sport really. It does move pretty often. It shows. One of my friends, Jacob, he definitely moves a lot of F1. He knows the market, and I can't do it. I did buy 2 raw cards though to send to PSA, so hopefully they get PSA 10s.
Okay. What about, I know you got into some of the Marvel stuff. Have you done a lot with that, or is that just kind of tinkering with it a little bit?
There's some stuff that I did put away. I did do pretty well on some of the stuff. And then some of the stuff, it was definitely for the collection. I'm a big Marvel like geek as far as watching the movies. I love Marvel movies. I always look into breakdowns. So like I'm the type of guy that I'll watch a movie and then I'll go straight to YouTube, watch New Rockstars, watch Eric Voss break down every single frame by frame.
Great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And you know what's crazy? I was watching him back when he was more camera shy, and as the years kept going on, and that's kind of the crazy thing about being a content creator. It's like when I first started, I mean, I was looking at my old videos and I was like, this is awful. What was I? How do you guys like this? Like, it's awful. I mean. But, you know, as the more you do it, you know, the better you get. I'd hope at least I get pretty decent, but
for sure, yeah.
I'm still waiting for Dustin to progress. I mean, it's still, I'm like, these thumbnails, man, like what is going on?
Hey, I figured you didn't notice
Microsoft clip art from Word 95.
I figured out how to add the line around you, like that line. I just added that 2 days ago. I'm like, yeah.
Now it's 3-dimensional.
The sad part is it took like 5 seconds to figure it out. I'm like, damn it, I could have been doing that all along. All this like, you know, this amazing thumbnail stuff. It's like a couple of clicks and I could have added the line.
You know what's crazy though? So when I actually got back into the hobby though, Dustin was one of the first people that I watched. I don't know if he remembers. I was watching his stuff when he had the elevator music in the background, when he it was great information though. It was great information.
When Dustin didn't look into the lens? You mean when Dustin would look at himself versus us? Hey guys, let's talk cards today. I'm Dustin.
Yes. Now, don't get me wrong.
I didn't realize the camera was over here. I'm like,
now
me.
It's crazy because I was watching Dustin when he had nothing on his back wall. He had like a portrait. He had white walls, and I think it was like some portrait or something. But it was great information, and that's all that I could ask.
I was actually in prison for the first couple months of the channel. So once I got out, I was like, oh my god, I should put a picture on the wall or something. Yeah,
I mean it's wild though, man. You know what's crazy? I was watching your stuff, and I still didn't make videos like about sports cards, but I mean, watching your stuff, actually, I had the same thing, man. I had white walls on the back. If you go back to my older videos, but please don't ever go back to them. But you'll see the white walls. Like, there was a video I literally recorded when I was just chilling in my bed. I was like, well, these are the top 5 that I think are the best buys. But I was just, I mean, watching Dustin, Jeff Wilson.
Watching Dustin inspires everyone because they're like, if this guy can do it, anyone can do it.
Well, and it was funny as I was watching Jeff Wilson and thinking the same thing, and I'm like, I'll do it and it'll look just like Jeff Wilson. And then Jeff Wilson started off like where I am now is like where he started, and then now he's put like $1 billion into the studio and everything, and it looks like he's on like Fox News.
Yeah, yes,
it does. It's great. It's crazy because I mean, like before I bought that Tatum stuff, I was watching, Gary Vee, but I watched Jeff Wilson. I mean, Jeff, I was like, you type in sports cards on YouTube, he's literally the first. Back in 2020, if you type in sports cards on YouTube, he was the first person that you'll pop up. So,
but if you type in personal finance dad and you want sports card content, then Dustin would pop up.
And apparently a lot of people did that accidentally.
No, I mean, so the way I got to Dustin, I was watching Jeff Wilson, and then I was like, okay, let me watch the small channel. And then I was like, oh, this guy's good. And then I subscribed. Then he posted every day, so I couldn't miss one. Miss one.
Dustin is the baseball of content creators. Sometimes it's twice a day, a double header.
It was
like, how do you have so much content?
Hey, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I was like, I'm coming in with hard work.
and I'm assuming you did it all with an iPhone.
Yeah, still do.
Android, no, it's a Razor.
And there's
a Razor phone.
My BlackBerry is still kicking.
You remember those Kia Ceras from 1999? That's what he's got.
I remember definitely though when Dustin, I remember he upped his production. I remember when he added the ring light. I remember the first episode with the ring light.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool. I mean, like I said, all jokes aside, like watching Dustin back in 2020, I mean, he gave out very great information, and he would help me buy, like not saying that you were like saying, hey, go buy these, but like the data that he backed up with like his picks or what he was looking for and backing up of why he was buying these players. Like I was like, damn, that makes sense. I mean, let me do it with my plays.
I just tried to explain why, not just have like a random, whatever, just like, okay, this is what I like about this in particular. That was my goal, is just try to have some sort of something to it.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, it was valuable information. That's all. As long as you're educating, I mean, like at the end of the day, you educated. So it's valuable information. And I mean,
Brad, are you listening? You just need to educate more. You need to be focused.
I'm all out, man. Now I'm just asking questions while I try and hold my bladder. That's where I'm at.
Now I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that diet, Brad. When you pull out the big cake.
It's pretty much 3 gallons of water and green juice and then lots of donuts. It's a crazy diet.
Brad's on the Naked and Afraid diet, where he doesn't eat for 21 days. And then he gets off of his fast, and then he eats cakes and cupcakes and puts it on video.
It's an extreme lifestyle.
When I eat something like a donut, I just feel like I need to take a shower immediately. Like it's so good, but I know that I need to hop in the shower like immediately to burn it off.
That's not what showers do. Oh, okay.
No,
wait, do you think showers burn calories? Because
no, they don't. But trust me, it feels like when I eat the donut, I just need to cleanse my whole body.
Yeah. Like you feel dirty. You feel dirty.
I could do an educational video on, guys, don't get in the shower to burn calories. Do it.
Brad's next video. Brad's rebranding.
Honestly, though, I love the whole cards and dating type of thing, because I don't know if anyone talks about their dating life with the hobby, but if I can merge the two, I'm totally cool going down that road, and I think that's part of the enjoyment we get.
Let's go ahead and hit Kenny with put him on the spot. How do you date when you are all over the country and doing all that? Or how does that work? Are you hinging like Brad?
No. I'm with somebody.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go.
And what's their take on you being in the hobby?
Very supportive. Very, very supportive. It's tough, but very supportive.
Good. Yeah, I'm looking for one of those.
Are you though? Are you?
I mean, I'm looking for many of those. Yeah. I'm looking for one for next week and another one for next week.
Did you see her elbow wrinkles though? I can't date someone with those.
I was listening in the background, Brad.
Hey, I got the girl from Whatnot. There's a girl from Whatnot that's an engineer that just liked me on Hinge. So maybe, hey, let's talk. Tell me about the algorithm. How can I sell my cards via Whatnot? Can you sponsor me? What's up? I'll take you to Nobu. You just hook me up with that sponsorship. I know Whatnot's got the money. Come on.
Do you take girls to expensive restaurants though? I can't. You don't do that. I can't imagine you doing that.
Well, here's the thing. Living where I live, which is the center of bouginess here in LA, it's hard not to when that's like the nearby restaurant, and then usually that's who you meet. However, still looking for the girls that want that from time to time, but not every night. Because
you park at catch and then reach back and grab the Chick-fil-A bag out of the back seat. Here's your nuggets, babe.
No, this is what I do. I say, oh, I Postmates. I got Catch to Go, and I just use a Catch to Go bag and then put in like Chick-fil-A in there. Be like, oh, this is Catch's new fried chicken with barbecue sauce. Oh, it's super fancy, and I just do like a little swirl on the plate with the barbecue sauce, so it looks fancy.
Oh yeah,
just like you're there, just like you're there. Okay, I want to ask you something before we head out. What's a take you have in the hobby that is different from a lot of the investors, the collectors that are around you? You know, like maybe they're in it as much as you in terms of immersed in it, but you just have a different take than the majority of them.
Oh, that's a damn good question.
Oh, the only kind I know.
Yeah, that's a damn.
You hear that, Dustin? That's how you interview.
Hold on, I have to yell at my dog. Go ahead, Kenny.
Honestly, dang, that one just caught me off guard. But like for example, I mean, I hang out with a bunch of, you know, we're all entrepreneurs in our own way. You know, we definitely enjoy traveling the country and making some money and making a bunch of connections. I'm really, I think I collect probably the most out of all of them. As far as the three that I mostly am with, which is Josh and Jacob, I get more attached to their cards, or excuse me, to my cards, more than they do. I don't know. I think that's I guess that, I don't know if I even answered your question the right way.
I don't think you did. I think it was just that good of a question.
Yeah, it really was. That was tough. You may need to rephrase the question again, because honestly, you just threw me off.
Is there something that you don't believe in that the consensus of the people are around you or the hobby as a whole does believe in? Is there like something?
I've got one after this. Go ahead.
If not, why don't we go back in case you have an answer? If not, it's all good. But I'm always curious to see if there is a perspective.
I believe yeah. Dang.
Stumps, man.
You're getting too close. I've got a quick and easy one.
Okay.
What's the most you've made off of one card in a flip?
$4
million. Honus Wagner.
Yeah, definitely. $25 million. Nah.
And you don't have to say what.
Define the flip. How long?
Anything, any type of buy sell situation. You don't have to say what it was or any of that, but just curious, like how much you cleared on one deal, roughly, approximately.
Or maybe what is your best flip? Like, as in, how would you define it? If your best investment?
I think my best. So it's not my most flip, but I'm gonna tell you my best flip. We bought a redemption in Dallas back in, it was like a couple months ago. We bought a redemption in Dallas for $5,000. We sold it immediately for $12,000 in 10 minutes.
Oof.
And that's solid, man. That's like, in terms of the amount of time it took, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So did you go to Catch or Chick-fil-A after that?
I definitely hit
Chipotle, you treat yourself to the guac. It's like $2.50 extra now.
It is actually, man. And now they're hitting you with the pollo asada, which is actually the same chicken, but all they do is throw a little bit of lime on it. Like and
then they charge more.
Yeah, they fool you for it. Like don't believe it. It's literally the chicken with lime.
Real quick, guys. I love Chipotle. We all love Chipotle. Let's be real. Here's the secret. All the rice you want is free. I say triple rice. All the beans you want is free. I go double beans. The meat will cost extra if you get more than one. So I do normal meat. The veggies, the onions and peppers, as much as you want. I get them to stuff that thing up. But I also eat quite healthy. So I don't do any of the dairy. I don't do queso or I don't know what the mayonnaise looking thing. I don't do any of that stuff. I might
sour cream.
Sour cream, yeah, whatever.
I don't stuff.
Mayonnaise. I don't know that yogurt shit. No, I don't do that. I do the healthy stuff, but I want to make that $10 worthwhile. So I tell them to pile on the rice, beans, and veggies, and they never charge more. It's not part of their system. So it's only the meat, the cheeses, the guac, etc. And then don't ever get tacos there, because if you get tacos, it's very little. Instead, ask for taco shells on the side, and you can get 2 or 3 of them. It's $0.25 each. It used to be free, but $0.25 each. And I did this with Dustin, and like you saw, my burrito, I had a burrito with him at the Mint Collective. It was like a baby. It was like a newborn. This would be another YouTube video.
Actually, I thought you were going to eat half of it and then save half for like tomorrow, the next day. That was 2 meals worth.
Dude, I mean, it was like a newborn baby that I just devoured. But anyway, it's kind of graphic. Okay, so amazing investment. Real quick on that redemption, how did you get it for 5,000 if it's worth 12,000?
It was it's crazy. The guy, like, he wanted 7 for it, and then we just kept coming back and he kept lowering his price. I mean, he the thing is, he told us
maybe he just got it for less and he was just trying
he told us that he pulled it. So I mean, that's the thing too, like, you never know specific people's situations. Like some situations, like for example, when I sell a card, like it just depends on the situation that I'm into the card for. Did I pay too strong? Did I pull it? Did I grade it? Did I trade into it? That's where like values come into play. So like, from the outside in, somebody could look at one of my YouTube videos and be like, oh, he got smoked on that trade. But you really don't know the numbers behind the trade. Like, maybe I pulled it. Maybe, I graded it. Maybe I'm already up 5x, 2x, whatever it is. But I mean, the guy told us like, hey, I ripped a couple cases and, I just need my money back. And like I said, I wasn't really interested in it. And it's crazy. Like I really didn't want it at first, but then we got it. Like he just kept going down and I was like, all right, fine. I'll take the risk. And then I sent it to one of the buyers who wanted that specific player, and he was like, yeah, I'll pay this.
I mean, at the end of the day, everyone has a different level of motivation, right? Some people need the money to pay off a medical bill, to pay off a credit card, to go on a vacation, to do whatever. And other people that might be in good situations are like, I could buy this now and I don't need to sell it for 3 years. And only if I get the price I want would I move it quicker. So I think that's the whole context. It's same thing in real estate. Always go after the motivated sellers. And how'd you get that house so cheap? Well, that's because they were in this situation. They got a new job and they moved across the country. They needed to liquidate within 30 days, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's really cool because you really, you're reading the market, you're reading the buyer or the seller in terms of what does this mean to them? What's important to them? Is it important that they get out of it now, or is it important that they get top dollar? And so I guess, especially at the shows, you're able to navigate that whole dynamic.
And that's another thing too, where, sorry to cut you off.
All good. Go for it.
And that's another thing where like cash is really king too. Like some people will say, hey, I need 7,500, but you could just throw the offer. Worst thing they're going to say is no. But when people see the cash in front of them, they're like, oh, wow. All right. Like there goes the negotiate. As long as you can negotiate it, it's not like you got to beat them up. You really don't. But like some people get wide-eyed when they see cash. I mean, they do.
Yeah. We're all human. One final question I have is, what are you looking forward to most about the hobby, let's say in the next 12 months, or what would you love to see?
No more sticker autos. With
it's not a sticker, it's a freaking piece of Scotch tape. Sticker is a nice word.
Yeah. That's really like, on-card autos, game worn stuff. No more player worn, no more event worn. That's really what I want to see with Fanatics whenever they do,
awesome.
Produce everything.
Dustin, any final questions?
No, I think we're good. Are you going to be in Raleigh in about a month? I hope that you are, because I'll see you out there.
I don't know. Possibly there are a bunch of shows coming up in June. There's a bunch of like multiple shows. But I do want to transition to like going somewhere where like people don't always go to, like for example, we're going to the Dallas Card Show tomorrow morning. Actually, it was crazy. I got to wake up in 5 hours or something. I got a flight at 6 a.m.
Wow.
But I definitely, whenever we go to these shows, we see most of the same people. So it's, it's competition, trying to get as many deals as you can. There's a bunch of people that do this full time. So, it's not like we're the only horse in the race. So it'd be cool to go to some different areas and definitely explore some other shows where, people don't go.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll meet you out here on the West Coast. Hopefully there'll be another big show here in the coming months, or at least coming year. But Kenneth, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, your wisdom, and your perspective with us. So Thanks so much, man. And everyone in the audience, we really appreciate you as well. Obviously, I got to pee. I'm pinching myself right now. I'm jiggling in my seat, but I'm trying to play it off. But definitely appreciate y'all and see y'all next week.
Thank you guys.